good evening to you and welcome to NTA's News Top Table, where you get an extra fill of Nigerian stories treated with unique insights. Tonight, morale is high as the Federal Executive Council approves salary increase for the police. As Nigerians begin their end-of-year travels home, we look at night travels, the courage of drivers, real or imagined dangers, and the prayers for a safe journey. And to travel, of course, you need fuel. The queues are building. Is it artificial or a market force forcing home new realities? Well, the Nigerian Army collaborates with other agencies in combating insecurity. Still on security, our correspondent visits Odoere and Egbe communities in Kogi State after their devil robbers raided banks there. We have this and other stories, including the ones we promised from last week on snakes in the closet, and closest help in such dangerous moments. I beg your pardon. So stay with us as the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Mabuba and this is News Extra. I welcome you. Determined to sustain the upward trajectory in the nation's communications and digital economy sector, the federal government has approved Nigeria's startup bill towards enhancing innovation in the tech industry. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, announced this at a media briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting. And State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports on this and other decisions aimed at improving power supply and provision of infrastructure.
The Nigeria Startup Bill to be forwarded to the National Assembly for enactment into law is to replace the National Digital Innovation Entrepreneurship and Startup Policy. The 11-chapter bill, crafted to, amongst others, provide the enabling environment for the startups in Nigeria to thrive, also makes provision for the establishment of the National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship to be chaired by the President.
Even a young startup doesn't have one kobo, government will support him through seed fund. Government will provide an avenue or an environment for him to come and work on his startup. And also government is willing to support him when he gets any international partnership.
The minister also secured the council's approval for the procurement of 4 passenger lifts for the headquarters of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. 2 joint memos presented by the Ministries of Power and that of Finance, Budget and National Planning also scaled through regarding the Presidential Power Initiative. One of them is seeking the engagement of transaction advisors and third-party consultants for the implementation of the program at $800,000 as well as $1.1 million US respectively, aimed at modernizing and upgrading power transmission and distribution infrastructure in Nigeria.
And of course, the focus is to be able to very quickly enhance the power availability and capacity in the country. With this particular approval, we'll be able to expand from the current capacity of 5,000 megawatts to 7,000 megawatts.
Approvals were also granted for enhanced provision of infrastructure in parts of the country.
The first one is for the construction of 2 bridges at Nata Ala and Saiburawa, Kano South local government area of Kano State. It's for the sum of 1,690,323,723 naira 58 kobo only. Another bridge in Jimeta in Adamawa State was also approved for the sum of 2,973,716,116 naira.
Meanwhile, the council has resolved to ensure that all bridges across Nigeria are assessed and attended to as part of the nationwide focus on the critical arteries for development. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Federal Executive Council has approved a comprehensive review and upgrade of the various welfare packages of the Nigerian police personnel for enhanced service delivery. The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Megerit Ngadi, who briefed journalists after the council's meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, said the new pay package will take effect from January next year. State House correspondent Adam Sambo again reports.
After a 7-month shutdown to allow for comprehensive overhaul and upgrade in tune with changing times, the Executive Council chambers of the State House once again comes alive. And at the resumed meeting by members, issues relating to the welfare and well-being of the Nigeria police personnel dominated discussions.
I'm particularly very happy today to inform Nigerians through you gentlemen who are here that the Federal Executive Council under the chairmanship of Mr. President has approved the review and the upgrading of the take-home pay of police personnel in this country.
This, the minister said, is in fulfillment of the promise by President Muhammadu Buhari in his nationwide broadcast following the NSAS protests in parts of the country. Consequently, duty tour, shift duty, and supervisors' allowances have been reviewed upwards. 1.12 billion naira approved for the payment of outstanding benefits of personnel for the uninsured period of 2013 to 2020 and 13.1 billion naira for outstanding death benefits from 2013 to August 2021. 1.1 billion naira has also been approved as payment for outstanding burial expenses of personnel from 2012 to 2021, while 750 million naira as annual insurance premium, as well as 4.8 billion naira for repairs and replacement of damaged police infrastructure nationwide.
Council has also approved a tax waiver in the sum of 18,600 million for junior officers of the police in order to increase their take-home pay. Similarly, government has also approved the increase of the current rent subsidy, which is currently between 15 to 20%, amounting to 61 billion. Increase is to 40% of the consolidated police salary structure that is composed in the sum of 78 billion 300 million naira. That is to say an increase of about 16 billion 400 million naira.
The Federal Executive Council has also approved payment of 20% of compass as peculiar allowance towards boosting the take-home pay of the Nigeria police.
With this development now, police will be having a more attractive pay that will be commensurate with what they are doing. What we expect the police to do after this is to redouble their efforts and justify the confidence that Mr. President and the Federal Executive Council has vested in them. As a ministry, we will do whatever it takes to ensure that we improve the performance and the relationship between the police and the public to ensure that they justify this good gesture, this very great history that has been achieved by Mr. President and his administration.
All the approved figures, the minister explained, are expected to be reviewed and verified by relevant government agencies who are also to come up with a new salary structure to be adopted by government and, if need be, a supplementary budget to be forwarded to the National Assembly for consideration and approval. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
One issue that had been affecting civil servants in Borno State over the years is lack of pay payment of pensions and gratuity, as at when due by successive governments. However, pensioners are now smiling to the banks as a new chapter has been opened in their lives following a series of interventions made by Borno State government, especially in settling all backlog of arrears and retirees and next of kin of deceased persons. Abubakar Mohammed has more on this development that will surely linger on the minds of beneficiaries and their dependents.
Sikari Ali Michelia, a former vice principal academic of Government Day Secondary School Wamdio in Askira Uba local government area of Borno State, is one of those that are currently benefiting from government's prompt payment of pension and gratuity, among other entitlements.
Pensioners no more suffer. He said they should be migrated from salary to pension immediately.
The development has also given the likes of Sikira a new vigor to forge ahead in other facets of human endeavor.
I cannot even mention the numerous work he has been doing. I'm happy.
We will never forget Professor Babgana Umar Zulum.
Even though dealing with retirees on matters concerning entitlements usually proves to be uneasy, the case of Borno can be said to be spectacular, as 80% of backlog of arrears from 2013 to date have so far been cleared.
We got a loan of 12 billion naira to clear part of outstanding gratuity liabilities. The residents have also made it a point of duty that every month he gives the finance office the sum of 100 million for the payment of gratuity arrears. He also gives another sum of 25 million for the payment of pension arrears.
For those involved in the payment process, it is gratifying to be part of such success stories.
His Excellency personally sat down with me, formed the verification committee to see for himself what these pensioners have been going through.
When a retiree comes with a complaint, we try as much as possible to assist that retiree, not minding who that retiree is.
The state government is sparing no effort in ensuring that all outstanding issues concerning pension and gratuity are settled within the shortest possible time. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA News.
In another development, the Senate has approved the 2018-2022 federal government external borrowing plan of $5.8 billion United States dollars. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports that the legislators also debated on the general principles of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill.
Chairman, Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, Senator Clifford Odia, presented the committee's report on the scrutiny of the 2018-2022 federal government external borrowing plan. The funds to be borrowed from 6 international financial institutions will be injected into critical sectors, including water, power, and health.
The terms and conditions of the loan from funding agencies be forwarded to the National Assembly prior to the execution of same for approval and proper documentation.
It's $5,803,000,000 and a grant of $10,000. Those in favor of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate is considering a bill that seeks to provide a legislative framework for the empowerment of women and gender equality in Nigeria. The bill, which started its legislative journey in the 7th and 8th Assembly, witnessed divergent opinions among senators and was eventually stepped down for further consultations.
To prevent discrimination and provide for the rights of men and women.
To ensure that Nigerian women are given equal opportunity.
Women have been at the receiving end of being excluded or even suffer denial of rights and liberties.
This aspect of it, by equating opportunities, actually infringes with the provisions of the Quran, of which I am a Muslim, and also the Bible.
If the topic of equity was okay, but equality is no.
The Nigerian women folk, they're looking up to us. Our daughters, our wives.
Please if there is anything that we pointed out of serious concern to our colleagues, let's find an accommodation so that when we come back, we should be able to pass the bill.
The National Assembly Budget and Research Office Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Sadiq Omar, and the Federal University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, Abo, Imo State, sponsored by Senator Rochas Okorocha, passed second reading, as Senate passed the 2022 budget of the Nigerian Communications Commission of 633.3 billion naira. Senate observed a minute silence in honor of late Oba Jimo Oyewumi, former Chief of Army Staff, General Muhammad Wushishi, and the Olowu of Owu Kingdom, Oba Adeboyega Dosumu. Senate has adjourned plenary to Tuesday, the 21st of December 2021. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, following the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines in Nigeria, those eligible were advised to go and take the jab at the nearest primary healthcare centers in their communities. The House of Representatives at plenary alleged that less than 20% of the 30,000 primary healthcare centers are in good working condition. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
When the issue was raised during plenary, debate on it led the House to pass a resolution to investigate the state of primary healthcare centers in the country.
Despite the huge resources invested into the scheme by federal government, the program has failed to achieve the desired objectives.
The debate also raised valid questions regarding whose responsibility is it among the 3 tiers of government to run primary healthcare centers and provide housing.
It was interventional initially, and now for almost 30 years, it has been there without really achieving where we needed to be in health.
The same way we have institutions like UBEC that have subsidiaries at the state level, constitution should be amended.
We claim to be practicing federalism, so we must practice, seen to practice federalism. Otherwise, an already overburdened federal government will continue to be overburdened even more if we adopt that approach.
An ad hoc committee was set up to look into that. The motion from Representative Benjamin Kalu demanding an investigation into the Deep Blue Sea contract, which involves procurement of security surveillance equipment, was adopted.
The National Assembly has neither authorized nor appropriated any monies for the Deep Blue contract or any monthly expenditure.
Other security-related motions adopted include the need to investigate the assassination of a commissioner in Katsina State from Iru Salisu, the need to investigate the abduction of 5 engineers as raised by Ifeanyi Moma, and the need to curb incessant bank robbery in parts of Kogi State as moved by Leke Abejide.
Heavily armed robbers again attacked 3 commercial banks in Egbe and Odoire in Yagba West.
House members also urged government to boost food security as tabled by Richard Bande, just as the appeal for the expansion of Osobi Warri Airport as moved by Efe Afe.
In February 2021, the House passed a resolution that Federal Minister of Abuja should ensure the opening of the Osobi Airport.
Plenary featured second reading of 6 bills, including the bill seeking to make effective conventions on chemical and biological weapons, sponsored by Abdulrazak Namdas. Meanwhile, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila says the recent presidential assent to the climate change bill, sponsored by Sam Onigbo, will help Nigeria transit to zero carbon emission. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Critics and self-styled commentators of the current state of security in the country have been described as people seeking relevance and trying to situate themselves on the political stage. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Abuja. Anthony Forson was there.
Many people forget that in 2014, Abuja was not safe. You were here in Abuja when the United Nations headquarters was attacked. You were here when the police headquarters was attacked in Abuja by Boko Haram.
Information and Culture Minister giving a recall what the situation was before the present administration came into power. With the present situation, it is self-seeking and a deliberate attempt to grandstand for political reasons, Lai Mohammed noted.
Amidst the cacophony of voices, some genuinely concerned about the situation and others ready to exploit it for selfish ends, it is easy to forget where we are coming from. Today, we only look at the current situation without wondering what would have been had this president not taken the bull by the horns as far as security is concerned.
The minister said President Muhammadu Buhari has done so much for the safety of lives and property of Nigerians, recalling that recently President Muhammadu Buhari commissioned some naval hardware in addition to the Air Force and Army.
Yes, banditry and kidnapping have added to the state of insecurity. President Muhammadu Buhari has also continued to provide quality leadership in order to ensure that our security agencies decisively tackle the cankerworm of insecurity of any EU. No administration in Nigeria's recent history has provided the security agencies with the hardware needed to tackle insecurity as that of President Muhammadu Buhari, in addition to raising the morale of our security men and women.
While insurgents are surrendering in their hundreds, critics, the minister maintained, must come with clean hands. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
A meeting of the Northeast Governors Forum has ended in Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, with an appeal to the federal government to consolidate on gains made by security agencies in the fight against insurgency, topping the 5-point communique issued. The communique was signed by the forum's chairman and governor of Borno State, Babagana Umar Azulu. Adam Yusuf reports.
The meeting, which was observed in a closed door, came out with a 5-point communique. The communique, read by Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya, urged the federal government to initiate a sustainable program for the handling of repentant terrorists.
Among others, are becoming worrisome, and therefore resolve and take stringent measures in order to curtail the menace.
The forum to warn the federal government to urgently fix power supply to Maiduguri and environs to boost socio-economic activities of the people in the state. Similarly, the forum raises concern over non-completion of Dadinkowa and Kashimbila hydropower plants and call on the National Assembly and the federal government to make adequate budgetary provision in 2022 appropriation bill for the implementation of the project.
The forum deliberated extensively on Mangala hydroelectric project and noted the breakthrough achieved by the removal of legal impediments to the implementation of the project. The forum therefore calls on the federal government and the National Assembly to make adequate budgetary provision in the 2022 appropriation bill for the proper implementation of the project.
The next meeting of the forum is scheduled for 9th to 11th March 2022 in Gombe State. In Damaturu, Adam Yusuf, NTA News.
And worried by the current spate of insecurity and developmental challenges in the country, stakeholders in the criminal justice sector at a national summit on the minimum standards for the implementation of Administration of Criminal Justice Act and laws of various states opined that uniform application of the Act and laws of various states is strategic in curbing insecurity and other criminal activities in the country. Judiciary correspondent Vera Chimuba reports that only 5 states are yet to adopt the Act.
The Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015 is meant to ensure that the system of criminal justice administration in Nigeria promotes efficient management of criminal justice institutions. Though the Act has been described as the most innovative piece of legislation since independence, application of the rules in the last 6 years at the various levels of court has thrown up some challenges that require further amendment, The convergence of the stakeholders in the criminal justice sector at a national summit in Abuja was therefore to work out the modalities for a minimum national standards for effective implementation of the Act and laws of various states. It is also suggested that the central data on criminals in all states will facilitate and curtail criminal activities.
Very importantly, to also establish whether a person is a first offender or a person who is a habitual criminal or a person who has actually been convicted before. And unless you have such a central database, there's no way you will know that sometimes you have a scenario in which a person is arrested, being prosecuted, or in reality he has committed the same offense, he's been prosecuted in another state.
The youths have organized themselves into vigilantes and paramilitary outfits. The safety and security of many communities depend on such help organizations. It is therefore necessary for states to create appropriate legal framework for regulating the activities of community-based vigilantes.
This is predicted on the fact that uniform application will harmonize and strengthen the capacity of the criminal justice sector.
If you are practicing in Lagos, all you need to do is just to take your law, you read it. If you go to some place, the same thing that applies. It will argue well for the country.
And I call on states that have not been able to domesticate this act to please do, because there is a lot of benefits that will be deprived.
We have led the effort in advocating for state adoption of the Act, and we're happy to note that as of today, about 32 states have adopted the Act, so that we now have a benchmark for effective implementation.
A national minimum standards website for the implementation of the Act was also launched. In Abuja, Viera Chinwoba, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has remained critical in ensuring peace and promoting national development. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya said, collaborating with key agencies like the media to enhance this drive is what this workshop seeks to achieve. Adiola Kemiakere reports.
Harnessing the inherent benefits of collaboration among security agencies and the media has remained pertinent. That is why relevant stakeholders are brainstorming to adopt strategies capable of ensuring national development. The Chief of Army Staff represented hinged the successes recorded in the various theatres of war on synergy between the military and other agencies with the media as partners.
National security and whatever we are doing is not only for the security agencies. No, it is all the nation approach. Because most of the problems that we are having, the issue of this fake news, misinformation, this banditry, is because people do not take Nigeria to be their nation, the only thing that they have.
Describing the theme of the workshop as apt in the wake of current security challenges, Commandant Naspri emphasizes the need to discourage unnecessary rivalry among security agencies to entrench cooperation.
We need to change the narratives, because if we don't change the narrative, no matter the effort of all the stakeholders put in fighting insurgency, fighting terrorism and what have you, it's like fighting a battle that will not come to an end. We need to collaborate more, and I think a step towards that direction has just started.
The Army School of Public Relations and Information Workshop, among other topics deliberated upon, were the role of effective strategic communication during internal security operations, media, and the military constitutional mandate, as well as strategies of enhancing media-military relations. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force is enhancing capabilities of critical air power required for a joint force operation for national security. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, at the winging ceremony of 4 new pilots and 12 unmanned aircraft systems for effective defense of the country's airspace. In the meantime, 11 student pilots are currently undergoing training in South Africa, while 3 on jet conversation in Egypt.
Are also currently being made to upgrade the UAV training facilities to enhance the operational capacity of UAV operators in anticipation of increased tempo of air operations with the recently acquired UAV, while sustaining capacity building program for the Nigerian Air Force Regiment in joint effort for synergy of air-ground integrated operations with sister services.
The training efforts are targeted at ensuring combat readiness to counter both domestic and foreign threats to the nation's security and the well-being of the people. Up ahead on News Extra, daring choices people make that call for questions, bitten by the bug of night travels. For me, it's a no. Join us for this and the interesting piece on vehicle owners, mechanics and spare parts and more when we return. Do stay with us.
May all your dreams come true this Christmas.
Everybody knows the secret to good cooking is that special ingredient. The mothers know it. But does this new generation know it? Let's find out. Mothers, daughters, are you ready? Yes! Let the cooking begin.
Erisco tomato paste. Now we get home, now we get love, now we get children. With a spice of world, with a meal so great and so healthy. You know we've got champagne. Oh, with Erisco, Rigico, Nagico.
Ladies and gentlemen, food is ready.
Food of love. For the yum yum.
Erisco Rigico and Nagico tomato paste is made by Erisco Foods Limited, feeding Africans with healthy foods.
Sharing brings with the Airtel Family Plan. Get bonus talk time, SMS and data for each family member you share with. Dial *141# now. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Federal Ministry of Environment will hold a post-Glasgow COP26 National Stakeholders Consultative and Dialogue Workshop. Target participants: Interministerial Committee on Climate Change, private sector, academia, intergovernmental organizations, civil society, and the media. Date: Thursday, 16th December 2021. Venue: Rockview Hotel Royal, Adetokunbo Ademola Way, Wusetu, Abuja. Time: 10 a.m. Engineer Musa Hassan, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Environment. Announcer.
10 years ago, the federal government of Nigeria initiated a support and intervention agency for the Nigeria tertiary education, which has now made an indelible mark in the sands of time. Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund. The Board of Trustees, management and staff of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, hereby invites stakeholders to its 10th anniversary. Special guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu. Guest of honor, Minister of State for Education, Honorable Chukwemeka Nwajoba. Chairman of the occasion, Olorun Dr. Sunny Folorun Shokuku, OFR, FAS. Date: 16 December 2021. Venue: Transco Hilton, Congress Hall, Abuja. Time: 10 a.m. All COVID-19 protocols will be strictly adhered to. Professor Suleiman Elias Bogoro, Executive Secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund. Announcer.
There is a saying that Christmas is what you make of it. At Bedmate Furniture, we enjoy making your Christmas comfortable and exciting with the furniture we provide you. That's why from 1st November to 18 December 2021, Bedmate offers you and your loved ones amazing luxury furniture your home loves and truly needs at up to 70% discount. You also stand a chance to win fridges, TVs, washing machines, and many more as we keep making your living better through the furniture you love.
Whoa, how hot is she? Very hot. Pick me, just pick me, baby. Come pick me, girl, man, I'm all ready for you.
So tasty.
He's so lucky.
Mini-Me, taste the fun.
Growing up in a big family, there weren't always enough seats at the table, so we started eating on the floor so that we could enjoy our food and cokes together, to remind us that the most important part of any meal is being together.
Welcome back. Minister of Power Abubakar Aliyu says amendments to the Power Sector Reform Act being undertaken by the National Assembly will give more traction to federal government's efforts at addressing inadequate and epileptic power supply in the country. It was at the public hearing organized by the House Committee on Power. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
This legislative engagement is the latest move by the House of Representatives to engender legal provisions to govern the operations of the power sector for optimal performance. House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila described the exercise as long overdue.
And we all as Nigerians understand that the electric power sector in Nigeria is not performing optimally. Most people recognize that a situation where we cannot expect 24-hour electricity in our cities and many rural areas remain wholly disconnected from the benefits of access to electricity is unacceptable.
The hearing is considered very necessary to enable the committee to utilize the outcome of the exercise to address the gap in the existing laws to strengthen the Nigerian sector power for efficiency and service delivery.
Minister of Power Abubakar Aliyu informed the gathering of the huge investment in the power sector by the federal government to further boost economic and social activities in the country, adding that regulations through legislation will enhance operations.
We commend interest shown by both chambers of the National Assembly and the power sector to ensure that the right environment is created for efficiency.
The public hearing aims to obtain stakeholders' opinion on amendments to some sections of the Power Sector Reform Act 2015, the bill to establish Chartered Institute of Power Engineers, and the bill to effectively coordinate the rural electrification project. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Now, from January to December, most people work hard with the view of having a unique end-of-the-year celebration. In December, many take advantage of the Christmas holiday to join their families and other loved ones in the end-of-year celebrations. And in this report, Adebola Brixlin Sunday takes a look at strategies being put in place by relevant safety agencies in tackling activities of enemies of the state who have made kidnapping a means of livelihood.
Before the full response of the nation's security agents, the spate of kidnapping across Nigeria became very worrisome as the situation assumed a very disturbing dimension. Since the beginning of this year, criminals have inflicted pain, sorrow, and misery on many families.
These criminals are within the communities in which these atrocities are committed. But we are engaging on a lot of enlightenment campaign to ensure that people appreciate the need to work with the police.
As people are getting ready to travel across the country, the roads, no doubt, will become very busy, and some may resort to night travels, which the Federal Road Safety Commission says is not safe.
Always be collaborating with security agencies to do night patrols. So, as you are being cautious during the day, you equally be cautious in the night. So it could be prevalent in the night. And if that journey is not compulsory for you to embark on, why do you have to go?
Joshua Osatimeyi, Commander General of the Nigerian Hunters Council, said hunters understand the terrains better than kidnappers.
Kidnapping is everywhere. The majorly is on the road.
You drive yourself for some kilometer, you don't see incoming motor. It's a sign that something is happening somewhere. So you have to come and wait for some minutes. I could be your neighbor, but you don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm a kidnapper too, or I'm an agent. You should not allow your neighbor to know your source of wealth or how wealthy you are. Or maybe you are called in any occasion. You should know how you spend money.
Security experts are advocating inter-agency collaboration to win the war against criminals.
The way to go to solve all problems of insecurity is to go into space, because criminals fear identification.
Knowing that internal security challenges are not peculiar to Nigeria, experts urged Nigerians to assist security agents in combating insecurity in the country. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
It is not news that a lot of road accidents reported in Nigeria happen at night. Despite this, there is the prevalent rate of night traveling in the country. In this special report, Oyemi Ajayi takes a look at why people still prefer night travel despite the imminent dangers involved.
As Christmas is fast approaching, sights like these are expected to be seen. Common during this time is the high movement of people to different parts of the country, which requires vehicular movement. For traveling, some prefer moving at night, with the reasons set to be quick arrival to their destination in the morning of the next day, as well as low transport fares. It's 6 p.m. The Jabi Park is already filled with human and vehicular activities, with some making their bookings, while some already seated, waiting for the other passengers to come in. Anthony Enias is one of the passengers set for the journey. As he heads to Lagos, he explains why he prefers night travels.
So some of the passengers, like I met some this afternoon, were saying that they prefer the night journey more than the day because it's more like free road.
That comes with a lot of fear. Family and friends say don't go, and we know the state of the nation. So to tell you that I'm not afraid is not true, but I trust God for safety.
Corroborating the fears expressed by Emmanuel, many have highlighted some of the dangers inherent in night travels.
The night, you cannot see what is ahead of you, which causes a lot of danger.
We used to hear that somewhere as we are going, they rob here. We see people stranded on the way, shouting, they have just robbed us now, they have just trapped us now.
If there is emergency in the night, the risk is on a higher side.
There's foggy weather, there's AC weather, there's this lack of the slippery surface. Even the braking system, the tire system, you can't get what will happen, especially in the night.
Federal Road Safety Corps says though it has no capacity to stop night journeys, but it will continue to embark on campaigns to discourage Nigerians from traveling at night, as the hazards involved are much. In Abuja, Oyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Well, thank you, Yemi. Now, vehicular breakdowns due to different kinds of malfunction has translated into sour relationship between motorists, mechanics, and spare parts sellers. Abdullahi Mohammed went on a mission to find out why and where Nigeria is headed to in the future of motoring.
A typical mechanic workshop, manual examination of the hundreds of electrical and mechanical components, the nerves and arteries, the rolls, the wheels, as well as the vehicle central processing unit. A tradition of trial and error, and the saturation of the spare parts market with substandard and used motor spare parts, inciting distrust between motorists, the mechanic, and motor spare parts sellers.
Jack, remove the tire, remove this. Is it because we want to charge you? And the mechanic attempted to divert well because it's overheating. He said it's okay, it will not be overheating again. If I get to Lokoja because from Lagos, the same issue.
The motorists may be pointing their fingers at the mechanics. But when Nonso, a Pujo specialist, strolled into my camera, the finger pointing trends further.
When you come to the new pass, maybe you put like a budget today. In the next 3 weeks, they'll start calling you. that the budget is not good, the car has been doing this and that. So we have been discouraged to buy the new pass.
Apple Spare Parts Market, one of the major motor spare parts market in Abuja. This is where most of the mechanics come to buy spare parts. And here, each and every business has in its shops or in its kitty different kind of spare part, motor spare parts. There are those that have been used locally and those that have been used out of this country and imported, and also those that are brand new. And here is where the mechanics come to buy those spare parts to fix those cars that are brought to them for repairs daily. Following Emeka to his motor spare parts store was an eye-opener. Used motor spare parts being recalibrated and his store to the brim with different categories of motor spare parts. He blames the dwindling economy for the imports of low-grade motor spare parts.
They have original new parts, but nowadays people bought the inferior one like China's and the lower one because of the price.
But the finger pointings may not last long as the world goes the opposite direction, stimulating the use of electric, solar and gas-propelled vehicles. And Nigeria places the responsibility of this transition on the shoulders of a global name in the motoring design industry. Jailani Aliyu said key steps have already been taken in that direction with a viable target.
We see that in about 10 years, at least, if not more, at least 50% of the vehicles, if not more, are electric in Nigeria, at least 50. And then the other 50 would be natural gas powered.
Now that the vehicle of the future is already running on Nigerian roads, the story of Nonso in the mechanic village and that of Emeka and the motor spare parts market will have to change. In Abuja, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
It will sure have to change. Even with the mandatory provisions that make thousands of Nigerian graduates flood the National Youth Service Scheme, authorities of the program say it is determined to raise awareness on the content of the NYSC Act. This position was stated at a sensitization workshop held in Abuja on the NYSC Act 2004. Femi Okeo reports.
The NYSC Act has always been in existence since the creation of the scheme, but it took two major high-profile cases under this administration for people to appreciate the enormity of a violation of the Act. This conference helps to sensitize Nigerians more on the provisions of the NYSC Act. With contributions from lawyers, judges and administrators, it was agreed that areas of obscurity in the NYSC Act need to be brought out both for employers of labor and educational institutions so that no one falls victim of the provisions of the Act.
I have to look at some of the challenges faced by the scheme itself as a result of the years of operation, the violations experienced, the economic side of it, the personnel side of it, and the political side of it.
In this wise, NYSC will soon begin the prosecution of violators of the Act.
NYSC does not allow, cutting short your service. If you cut short your service, there's a penalty for that. And if during your service you start doing a master's program alongside, it's wrong.
If you are a core member and you are serving, and in midstream you break your service, that means you have not completed service. That means you have to be punished accordingly.
So far, the courts have made key pronouncements that saw even political office holders thrown out of office for not presenting themselves for service. One case in point is Abdulkadir Madibo against Mustafa Usman, where one corps member went into politics 3 months to the end of his service and won the election. His election was annulled because the NYSC Act forbids members from participating in politics. In Abuja, Femi Okeo, NTA News.
Those of you who have served or are serving under the National Youth Service Corps scheme must be familiar with the Personal Community Development Service. Well, can you remember your project? That is, if you embarked on any. It is the core of the scheme, and a core member, despite the tight economic situation, is bent on impacting lives before the end of her service year. Momsede Mendeti reports.
Dilapidated structures, faded and stained walls, plus broken ceilings was a familiar sight for the pupils of a government primary school in Kado, Abuja. It was the grim reality of the learning environment. An intervention takes place in the form of a noble gesture from a youth obeying the clarion call. After a short passage of time, the school gate of LEA Kado reopens and a positive transformation is unveiled. Pupils' excitement and cheers fill the air, and the palpable joy fills the heart as the once dilapidated blocks of classrooms wear a new look.
Our core members are seeing NYSC scheme as a time of fun, catch fun and meet friends. Somebody have gone beyond that here, and you could see the heavy renovation work here. It's really very, very expensive. We commend that a lot. This is what I think everyone should emulate.
I think that the new color looks great on the walls and the paintings are really nice.
She told me that she has just 2 weeks to finish the work. I said, wow, are you really sure? She said yes. I was thinking of giving her just a classroom. This girl surprised everybody. In short, I am so overwhelmed.
The hands of change belong to a Batch B core member, Aisha Kuntin-La, who despite tight economic conditions came all out to impact these lives.
Start with the ceiling, the roof. We removed the old ones, we applied new ones, we painted. I am so passionate about touching humanity. Girl child education has been my topmost priority.
This is called Personal Community Development Service, carried out during the NYSC year. But it is only the true patriots who deny themselves for others to thrive. Monso Damien, NTA News.
Amazing. The need to cater for the social welfare of the vulnerable in the society has been emphasized by dignitaries at the inauguration of the River State Safe Home. Ogedi Nwekwere reports that Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, performed the inauguration.
It is the responsibility of government to take care of the vulnerables. We are only interested in constructing roads. We are only interested in constructing schools, hospitals, and the rest of it. But one major aspect that government forgets is the less privileged, the vulnerable. We do not think that we owe them that duty.
I also call on the federal government. This actually should be replicated in all the states.
And rich content attracts viewership in television broadcasting, and this responsibility lies mostly with the programs department. So designing programs that will guarantee more patronage is the focus of the 2021 annual conference of the Programs Directorate of the NTA holding in Abuja. Abdul Malik Hassan has the report.
It is a 3-day train-the-trainer session for heads of programs department across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. They are to be taught the good and better part of TV production and expected to extend same on return to their various stations.
Our reason for this year's gathering is to assess and ask ourselves questions on what we are doing right or wrong, and plot the way forward to a better directorate of programs. Our job in Programs Directorate goes beyond content production, but how to make the screen more attractive to our viewing public and attract more eyeballs.
The arrival of the Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, speaks thick and thin to the participants.
As programmers, you guys are very pivotal to the success of NTA. You are very pivotal to how our screen looks like. You are content providers, especially now that we are going into the digital era. Come 20th of this month, that's going to be next Monday, we are going to launch the DSO, the Digital Street Silver in Port Harcourt.
As seasoned broadcasters who are heading various directorates and informed advice from the executive directors to the participants expressing optimism, NTA will continue to be the viewer destination. And the Director General of Nigeria Council for Art and Culture, NTA, always lives up to its motto of no one can beat the rich, and the center pledges to support NTA's cause where necessary. Awards were presented to best performing staff and stations for their outstanding TV productions. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
NTA, you can't beat the rich. President Muhammadu Buhari joins Akwa Ibom State Council of Chiefs in celebrating His Royal Majesty Owong Effiong on his 58th birthday, congratulating the political scientist, businessman and administrator for dedicating his time and resources to the service to humanity. President Buhari notes his contributions to national development, particularly in the sustenance of peace in the Niger Delta. As the former national chairman of traditional rulers of oil minerals producing communities of Nigeria and now national life patron, President Buhari praised for the well-being of the royal father, who had served as a state chairman of Akwa Ibom Council of Chiefs for a long period of time. After 6 years of conversation, it is finally a done deal that kickstarts the FCT land swap project. Plus, who do you think is in a better position to tell the world about whether Nigeria is faring well with food security or not? If you're not sure of whom to trust in this, then hang in there for our next segment for answers when News Extra returns from this next break.
This is beautiful.
Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam.
Hello, honey.
Hey, baby.
Wow, those guys are good in bed.
What? Yes, we're good in bed. Hurry now to any Vitafoam accredited dealer nationwide or visit us online on www.vitafoamng.com to place your order today. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
I did look for pension fund administrator. We're soft, make sense, we care for me. Shy. No be the type when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. No. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them then they accessible. Yes, customer care where they on point. No go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment. Everything is just a blend. If you don't good for you, I make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
Are you interested in getting your products or services to more people, expanding your business, becoming more profitable, and a leader in your industry? If yes, then simply open a Zenith Bank SME Grow My Business account and get the extra edge you need. Visit any of our branches today to get your Grow My Business account or www.zenithbank.com/SME to learn more.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a router for just 10,000 naira and get up to 240 gigabyte or a MiFi for 5,000 naira and get up to 125 gigabyte bonus data. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband bar.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
There is no doubt about it. Trees and other plants are so admirable and they produce productive farmlands and water. Imagine this colossal damage. No lands, lakes are gone. Houses wash away. Migration is imminent. All this as a result of desertification. We must fight desertification by planting more and more trees to save our lands and restore the glory of our agriculture. These will ensure a sustainable food sufficiency, adequate flow of water, and peace of mind. This message is from the National Agency for Great Green Wall.
Does your toothpaste give you complete fresh protection? New Close-Up Toothpaste Complete Fresh Protection takes care of your 5 important oral care needs. It gives you strong teeth, prevents tooth holes, cleans deeply, fights bacteria, and gives you fresh breath. Complete fresh protection from Close-Up.
Introducing the one gift for all this festive, GoTV Super. Enjoy more channels, more variety, more entertainment on GoTV Super. GoTV, love it.
Thanks for staying. More non-state actors have continued to strengthen synergy with state actors to flatten the curve of the ravaging COVID-19 threatening key sectors of the economy. The latest intervention is coming from MasterCard Foundation in collaboration with strategic partners in the delivery of 65
African Center for Disease Control is to reinforce citizens' vaccination against the ravaging coronavirus pandemic in Africa. Nigeria's allocation of 3,226,400 of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines were received by UNICEF Nigeria for cold storage and will be distributed to vaccination centers to meet increasing demand of citizens and for effective response to future outbreak of the disease. The intervention is meant to increase vaccination rate and strengthen non-pharmaceutical measures against coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria and flattened the curve of the ravaging disease. President and Chief Executive Officer MasterCard Foundation Rita Royce says the support for Nigeria to surmount the current health crisis will be sustained. Director of African Center for Disease Control Dr. John Nkengasson says the first tranche has started rolling in 39 countries and will be replicated in more countries in the nearest future. Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Let's talk business. Inflation drops to 15.40% in November 2021 from 15.99% in October 2021, says a National Bureau of Statistics, as investors gain 20.79 billion naira in the capital market. Details in business news with Musa Abubakar. It's over to you, Musa.
Thank you, Fatima. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the inflation has declined continuously for 8 months. Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, dropped to 15.40% in November 2021 from 15.99% in October 2021, fallen by 0.59%. Statistician General of the Federation, Simon Harry, says this shows that government effort at improving the economy is yielding results.
The decline continued to the month of November with a figure of 15.40% on year-on-year basis. And so this is an improvement when compared to the corresponding month of October 2020, which recorded a figure of 14.89%. And so looking at this, you discover that between the month of October and the month of November, we have a decreasing percentage of the points of 0.59%.
The board of the African Development Bank has approved a $210 million loan for the takeoff of the proposed special agro-industrial processing zone. The program in Nigeria. The loan facility is to help to unlock Nigeria's agriculture sector potential and promote industrialization through the development of strategic crops and livestock. The first phase of the program will be implemented with co-financing from other partners in the amount of $538.05 million. This will be implemented in 7 states and the FCT focusing on 13 crops, including livestock, fisheries and beef, as well as dairy production. The states are Cross River, Imo, Kaduna and Kano states. Others are Kwara, Ogun and Oyo states. The president of the bank, Akinwumi Adesina, in a statement said the benefiting states where the first phase of the program will be implemented were selected based on a readiness criterion as well as the need to ensure geographical balance across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. Now to capital market. Market sentiment turns positive at the close of Wednesday trading session. The oil share index at 0.09% to close 42,357.36, and equity capitalization climbed to 22.1 trillion naira. 226 million shares worth 2.6 billion naira were traded in 3,476 deals. International Breweries PLC, FBN Holdings and Guarantee Trust Holding Company PLC are the most traded shares. Well, that's business. Is back to you, Fatima.
Yeah, back to me. Thank you so much, Musa Bakar. Now, 6 years after its suspension by the federal government, I guess the time is now right as Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, has flagged off the land swap program in Abuja. Shuaibu Onoze Yakubu was at the flag off of the pilot scheme in Gwawa Phase 4 district and now reports.
The land swap designed to address infrastructure deficit in the FCT was started by the previous administration before it was suspended in 2015. This flag-off ceremony signaled the full resumption of the scheme, which will ensure provision of the desired infrastructure in the areas earmarked for development. FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello urges partners involved in the agreement to adhere to the terms and conditions of the initiative, which will fast-track development in the territory.
The basic concept of this program is to grant an agreed percentage of land to an investor for comprehensive development, and in exchange for this grant, the investor is to provide both specified infrastructure as well as resettlement costs.
This milestone event is a testament to our commitment to the provision of critical infrastructures for FCT residents in line with Mr. President's mandate by the administration.
It is indeed a capital-intensive project and a demonstration of real faith and commitment by the private sector developer into the development of our capital city, the FCT.
The pilot project tagged Abuja Midtown is under public-private partnership arrangement, which when completed will provide homes and job opportunities for more than 100,000 people. Shuaibu Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
In another story, the federal government has refuted a claim by some local and international organizations that Nigeria is at the verge of facing food crisis. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, in an exclusive interview with NTA, said Nigeria's agricultural outputs have been on the increase despite social and economic challenges. Musa Aliu has more on that.
There was an insinuation that Nigeria may face food crisis as a result of challenges associated with COVID-19, conflicts and other social vices. One of the reports indicates that about 12 million people will face food crisis before the end of December this year. We are already in December. In fact, half of the month have gone. So I visited the Federal Ministry of Agriculture here in Abuja, where I met the Minister, Dr. Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar.
No, we are not going to have a food crisis by the grace of God. We are doing everything possible. We have the grain still in our silos. We are stocking. We are intensifying farming, dry season, wet season. The ministry will start dry season sometime next month, and then the wet season. And all the other areas that, agencies, MDS that are working, we are working together to make sure we maintain level of production no matter what.
The minister said investigation carried out nationwide revealed that there was a good harvest of all food crops despite the climate challenges faced by farmers. And markets like these are the first point of call for farmers, where they supply their produce for an exchange for cash.
The government is passionate, Mr. President is passionate about agri, and he has already also released intervention to the ministry to restock this grain reserve.
It has been observed that agricultural sector remains key to the economic diversification efforts, as the sector has remained consistent driver of the non-oil sector. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
The mere mention or sight of it really gives me the creeps. I hope you get my drift. As man's longest enemy backs in its season of bites, correspondent not only seeks answers to the availability of antidotes, but how to keep it at bay. This and more to come your way right after this next breather.
For those wondering why, Schweppes now comes in a new ginger flavor. Experience tells us. The boldest flavors have the most character. Introducing new Schweppes Ginger, a new flavor made with over 200 years of experience.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 123. Its antibacterial action formula gives them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent Triple Protection 123.
Not all washing powders are the same. Sunlight adds bursts of freshness to cleaning power to give you Sunlight 2-in-1 for sensational cleaning and freshness that lasts. Sunlight 2-in-1, sensational cleaning with burst after burst of freshness. Introducing Sunlight with luxurious oud fragrance.
How did I get here? It all started shortly after I graduated from MSTC, the Model Skills Training Center, with a certificate in ICT. I successfully developed a data management program that has been called the software of the future. Thanks to its success, everyone wants it, and as you can see, now everyone wants me. But I'm not alone. The skills training programs at MSTC are equipping young Nigerians to become the next big success story. Whether it's ICT, mechatronics, facility technology, electronics and computer networking, or culinary studies, a certificate at MSTC is the way of the future. And just like me, there he is. Everyone will want you to.
ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
There's a saying that Christmas is what you make of it. At Bedmates Furniture, we enjoy making your Christmas comfortable and exciting with the furniture we provide you. That's why from 1st November to 18 December 2021, Bedmates offers you and your loved ones amazing luxury furniture your home loves and truly needs at up to 70% discount. You also stand a chance to win fridges, TVs, washing machines, and many more as we keep making your living better through the furniture you love.
Looking
Feeling fresh for your date? Get even fresher with Close Up. New Close Up Triple Fresh formula. It cleans deeply, fights 99% of bacteria, and cools intensely, keeping you protected and fresh.
Protected and fresh. Protected and fresh.
Let's take a picture.
Protected and fresh.
Still fresh, still protected.
Feeling cool and protected.
All day confidence to get close.
Oh yeah, take the Close Up shot. Close.
New Close Up Triple Fresh formula.
Me and you, let's get to Ghana. Hey! Right, jump.
This is Ghana. You've come here to seek for greener pastures. Make it your worthwhile.
Any guinea fowl you see, say Guinea. Guinea fowl has nothing to do with Guinea. It's just the name of the fowl. So Ghana jollof, what is it? Is it Nigerian beans?
What?
Have we made before?
No.
Jasper! Help me!
Femi Martins, just look at this. Remember the name. That is a wonderful goal.
The African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA. Powered by Afrosport. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
Norwich City are desperate for another 3 points in their battle for survival in the Premier League. Can they cause an upset against the Hammers? This Saturday, it's West Ham United versus Norwich City on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Welcome back to News Extra. Questions on how a snake managed to find its way into the water cistern linger weeks after the reported death of a Nigerian Air Force personnel from a snake bite went viral on the social media. As surprising as this may seem, these reptiles are beginning to invade living homes of Nigerians. How available are anti-snake venoms in our health facilities? This next report by Oluseyi Adiabo brings us answers to this and more.
Statistics from the World Health Organization (WHO) put deaths from snake bites at 138,000 deaths every year globally. The death of the female NAF officer identified as Lance Corporal Bassi has left many tongues wagging.
So how do you expect snakes to come from the WC, from the water system, and then come up in such an environment? So I found it myself unbelievable.
If this is not a rumor, if this is not a conjecture, I do not subscribe to the idea, to the truth of the matter that a man is staying, in a conducive environment where you have, normal toiletry,
Though these respondents would not believe a snake could make its way into the water system, but the Registrar of the Environmental Health Officers Registration Council of Nigeria, Dr. Baba Yakubu Muhammad, explains the possibilities.
It may be as a result that the soakaway is overburdened because of number of the personnel or number of people that are occupying the house is not going in the requirement of the building plan. So this will also allow vermins to harbor within the soakaway pit. Maybe as a result of underground infiltration between the water sources and also the soakaway pit.
Also recently, the social media has been awash with stories of how snakes and other reptiles find their ways into residential apartments and becoming co-inhabitants. An infectious diseases specialist, Dr. Usman Abdurrahman, explains what is expected when anyone experiences a snake bite.
The person should go to a nearby hospital where the person can be treated with anti-snake venom. But first of all, the person should make sure that the place is clean
He said anti-venoms remain the most effective antidote to snake bite, but remarked that accessibility is a major challenge.
Snake bite seems to be more African use, and however, we don't own the production of the anti-venom. So that has also affected the availability in most of the hospitals, especially in the rural areas. So my advice is that the Ministry of Health should see to the production of anti-snake venom in Nigeria. We have the scientists.
So environmental officers, reptiles can be prevented from finding their ways into people's apartments.
As a matter of every requirement, all residential quarters supposed to have gone for what we call disinfestation and vector control. At least 6 months or annually, are we doing that? If you are not taking care of your house, you will suffer these consequences.
Don't forget, the state of the environment determines how free you are from these unfriendly reptiles. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Well, thank you, Oluche. That was really scary. Now, following the loss of 2 medical doctors to Lassa fever, staff of Dalhatu Arab Specialist Hospital, Lafia, have renewed their advocacy for an improved working condition for its personnel. Victoria Kasojitu reports that the advocacy was at a procession in honor of the fallen heroes.
Of protection of medical personnel dawn on the Dalhatu Arab Specialist community as it loses 2 of its specialists to the cold hands of Lassa fever, all in a bid to ensure a patient survive from the ailment. Dr. Esa Oga was a consultant gynecologist who lost his life while treating a patient, while Dr. Victor Nwatu was also a gynecologist who died on the 5th of December. The loss of these 2 personnel is considered too heavy by the Dutch community, which informed their coming out en masse.
So the government should facilitate opening a center here that can test for Lassa fever. That's number 1. 2, you heard them talk about no insurance. So now that they are dead, it's contributions and donations. That's not correct. We should have a standard insurance on ground for people who die in active service. Then number 3, the hazard allowance is still 5,000.
The Chief Medical Director, Dr. Hassan Ikrama, calls on medical practitioners to treat every case in the hospital as either a pandemic or epidemic to avoid recurrences.
Patient came to the hospital and she was operated upon by our doctors. And 2 of the doctors that operated on the patient came down with Lassa fever. So, looking back, we think that that particular woman that he operated upon was a probable case of Lassa fever.
He said contact tracing has been carried out for about 70 personnel at the hospital, and none of its staff are positive to Lassa fever. From January till date, about 430 persons across the country have tested positive to Lassa fever, and 80 people have died. In Lafia, Victoria Kaswa Uchito, NTA News.
Our last break beckons, but when we return, we take a beat of sports for the viewing pleasure of our sports lovers. Do stay.
2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is here again. The Nigerian Armed Forces work tirelessly day and night to give us peace to go about our businesses. Some have paid the supreme price. Should we forget the families and loved ones they left behind? No.
I am therefore privileged to honor these veterans who devoted most of their lives, active lives, to securing the nation and the world at large.
So, let's support the Nigerian Armed Forces and their families, corporate organizations, government agencies, parastatals, and individuals. Let's show our love and support for our armed forces. They are our heroes. Buy the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem and donate into the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem Appeal account. We love you, and your labor and sacrifice will not be in vain for spilling your blood for us to live.
Norwich City are desperate for another 3 points in their battle for survival in the Premier League. Can they cause an upset against the Hammers? This Saturday, it's West Ham United versus Norwich City on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
The ancient old town in Abuja wears a sorrowful look following the demise of the Olowu of Owu Kingdom, Oba Adegboyega Doshumu, the Amororo of the second, who passed on Sunday 12th of December 2021. Lekon Agbode has the situation report from the palace.
The announcement of the demise of the Olowu of Owu Kingdom, Oba Adegboyega Doshumu, the situation around the palace here has been pensive as some chiefs have come in to mourn the death of the monarch. The bedroom music has momentarily stopped. The Owu community was in sober mood as the normal activities associated with the palace has been suspended to mourn the demise of the first-class traditional ruler. Even though a condolence register is yet to be opened at the palace, but the chief protocol officer, Chief Moruf Egbeyemi, says necessary arrangements are being put in place.
The situation in the palace now, we are waiting for the Alake of Egbeland to go and tell him that our papa passed on. After that, we go to the Obas in Egba when we come back to palace for the press conference.
Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun had, in a condolence message, described the late monarch as a quintessential monarch, a man of peace and passionate supporter of development. Oba Adegboyega Doshumu joined the Nigerian Civil Service in 1956 and later the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, where he rose to become the head of drama department. He was the producer of the popular Nigerian television series The Village Headmaster, that held the record of the longest running popular television series for over 20 years. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbode, NTA News.
And with that, we conclude News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. But before we go, remember to connect with the NTA and stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Umaruba. Enjoy the rest of your night.